Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are live with Fully Charged, episode number 6. I am Sal. I am joined by Cbear today as your co-host. And today we got a couple of special guests with us, DJC and Duder. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of subjects, so do stay tuned. I'm glad to see the numbers showing up already. I'm pretty sure they're just here for the Bills and the Buds, Cbear, but why don't you give us a rundown of maybe a little what we're talking about today?
Yeah, it's just one bill and one bud, but I think from what I'm told, the bill is worth like $30 DJC now or something like that. And in the trade economy, I'm not too versed, but it's worth some real stuff. And the Bills is another kind of unique hat. I believe it was Left 4 Dead 1. You got it if you bought Left 4 Dead 1 when it first came out, like a long time ago, and it's rarer now, so it's worth something. So that'll be given away at the end. I don't remember the guy who gave it to me, but I'll pull that document up that has his name. So thanks to that guy, and I'll get that for you. But we're going to talk about TF2 personalities. The ESCA LAN and whether or not what our casting is going to be like, I guess. We'll talk about that a little bit, maybe. And then some other stuff, some kind of drama going on, Sal, that I wanted to talk about as far as why we can't all get along. But I'm pumped because my best E-friend in the world is here, DJC. How are you doing, DJC?
Hi.
Hello.
I just got killed by some idiot in DayZ who was firing off pistol shots at me from like 250 meters away. I'm having a great night there.
They're making a standalone version of that, right?
It's supposed to come out like next month sometime.
That's
the
exciting.
alpha version it'll be like the Minecraft thing where it's an alpha and it's just awful forever. Then eventually it gets okay, but it's still not really good. I'm sure.
Okay.
I want also part of the goal this week's show for me, Sal, is to get DJC to purchase Chivalry and play it with me. So stream viewers, tell them to play it with me because it's fun.
Cbear, I thought Chivalry was dead.
No. Although it's a weird name for a game because there's really no chivalry. I'm not like holding a door open for a lady. I'm cutting off people's arms and legs and head.
But you're doing it in the name of honor.
Right. No, I'm just doing it because it's fun.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so where do you want to start, Sal?
Well, I want to start by talking real quick. There was just an update; it just dropped, so we'll start with some light and happy news. That as light as happy as TF2 ever gets. This is going to be a Halloween update, and it looks like we're going to be fighting against the Wizards. If you haven't seen that comic yet, I'd go check it out. They always do a pretty good job on the Halloween stuff, I would say.
Yeah, my favorite hat ever is the big pumpkin that you can only wear during Halloween.
Yes.
It's really probably the best thing. I wish you could just wear it all the time. I'd wear it every class.
That eyeball still creeps me out. Was that from last year when you could tear the
Yeah,
dude's eye out
yeah.
and wear that around and it looks around and stuff? Oh,
I thought your
Not
favorite
a
hat
fan.
was the antlers with hearts, Cbear.
I'll tell that story later, maybe during hat time, of when DJC broke my heart and sold my heart. Actually, you could finally tell me what you actually did with the $80 you got from the hat that I lent you.
I don't even remember. You gave it to me.
Anyway, yeah. So that comic, I was reading it, Sal. I'm not great at making heads or tails of this. I guess we're going to be looking at sort of every Halloween they come out with some weird update with a game mode thing, and I don't know. What do you think it's about? I mean, you're kind of the you got the pulse of the common man.
Yeah, I'm one of those proles that you see all the time hanging around the pub servers. But the Halloween updates tend to be a boss fight. So it's usually on like King of the Hill Viaduct. Like last year it was Viaduct turned into Eye-aduct, and that was where the whole eye thing came from. You're attacked by a giant eye, and if you beat him, you can put him on your head as a hat, essentially. There's a little more to it than that. But it was a fun time. It would actually like level up and scale with the more times you killed it and the more people who were in the server, you could actually have a higher level, harder to kill eye who would fire faster and faster rockets. So they definitely know what they're doing as far as like making it kind of a challenge for the players. So this time around, it looks like we're going to have another boss fight. Somebody was saying something about MVM. I didn't see that out of this comic, but people were saying it could be an MVM update. So
That's what I was thinking when I first read it, but I wasn't actually around for the eye thing. But that makes sense because MVM has been pretty popular lately. They released the update to it was like about a month ago, and a lot of people have been playing the new and improved version, trying to get their diamond weapons and whatever. But
yeah, we've been talking
cool.
about that for a little while now. With the popularity of MVM coming out, I think it sort of makes sense for Valve to at least address it in the update. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff for pubs, but I mean, MVM is their baby right now. It's their new cash cow, and I think they want to milk it for pretty much everything it's got. But I really, really hope they address just the regular pub stuff. New map, maybe. It'd be nice if they didn't do a zombie horde mode, which I read on Reddit today. That's what someone thinks they're going to do, and we already have that. It's called Left 4 Dead, so let's not do that.
Right.
Left 4
So,
Dead
the
could be a
zombies-
little, I don't know. Left 4 Dead mod could be a little bit more fun if you had, a rocket launcher and sticky bombs. I could see that being an enjoyable time.
Zombies would have to be tougher then, because you'd just be blowing them
Well,
up.
they'd be robot zombies.
Mm.
Beat boop brains.
I think MVM would be cool, like a Halloween themed MVM map. You get some kind of rare item, drop something. That's what it is too. It's like
Yeah.
people really like that RNG. You might get a diamond something something. Those things are worth quite a bit of money. I know my friend Sean Bud plays it like a lot. I think he's like 7 full tours, and he's selling off his diamond minigun and all sorts of stuff, and he's getting like pretty decent return on it at least. I don't know. But I mean, it's 99 cents to play one round of it, like $3 then to play a full tour of the new MVM maps. It's like makes some pretty good money. It's pretty smart. I would do like another one of those and have a kind of a charge thing. I think it would be pretty popular.
They could definitely make a lot of money. In fact, Valve does make a lot of money with this kind of thing. You see them putting anyway. We should probably move on to the main topic of the night. But yeah, Valve does make a lot of money off this stuff, and so I'm happy to see that they could potentially make money off competitive as well. We talked about that, in a video that I did once a long time ago, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Hey, real quick before we move on, what are you guys' predictions for when that update hits?
The Halloween update?
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm gonna say
It's on Wednesday. I'll say Saturday through Monday, somewhere in that area.
I'm gonna give you my prediction, but it hinges on something else. Do we know when the playoff finals are for IM? Because that's when it's gonna hit.
That's when the update will
That's
hit.
exactly
Yeah.
right when the
Yeah.
match is about to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably right. Knowing Valve.
Yeah.
I think we'll start seeing stuff about it tomorrow, and I think they'll drop it on Friday for the weekend and run it probably for like a weekend in November. They did that last year where it was like a weekend in November,
Yeah.
and then everything turned off.
It'd be a fun
That's what I
time. At least, hopefully I'd get a little bit of time to play. I'm not going to have any time this week. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so we want to move on to a different topic here, and that topic is there's some drama in TF2 right now, right, Cbear?
Well, I don't know if it's even obvious drama. It's just something that I noticed for all of the people.
What would just make some drama?
Right. Well, I mean,
Screw
like I
you,
said,
Sal.
If your only experience in TF2 is maybe watching Sal's videos or seeing streams casually, you would not know if this existed at all. But if you're more of a follower of the scene, there's a thread on. I'm gonna burp. There's a thread on Team Fortress TV in the Highlander section that's basically like, hey, now that invite players are having a full season of Highlander, what do we think? And blah blah blah. It was like a pretty innocent question. And the thread just turned into this huge shitstorm of people going back and forth at each other in a way that I thought was really stupid. And it's kind of brought up this idea. I've talked to quite a few people about it. I'm interested to see what you three think about why it is exactly that we have to fight so much in between 6v6 and Highlander. Is there a reason you think that we just can't all kind of get along? I mean, when Sal and I discussed doing this show for the first time, what we kind of thought was we could help try to pull some of these huge Highlander numbers and maybe get them interested in playing the other form of the game. Show respect to both sides and say, this is what's going on in this part of the game, and this is what's going on in this part of the game, and it's all happening. If you're interested in either, go for it. But it seems like we're kind of fighting each other. Like, no, this side's better. No, this side's better. And I don't know. DJC, you're a 6v6 player originally, and you play only Highlander now. Have you experienced with your team any weird drama in between and what the point of all of it is? I mean, I'm confused. Reading that thread, I just kind of get mad and confused.
Well, most of Tangerine's actually plays 6v6 or has played, like Downpour, Overseer, Scarlet were all on a team. Huey Lewis used to play on a team with like Truck. A couple others of them played, but like I honestly feel like it just boils down to, do two hungry, starved dogs fight over table scraps? Or do they fight over like a giant bountiful feast? If you put like 5,000 pounds of dog food in front of two dogs, are they gonna fight? And they're just gonna eat the hell out of that dog food. If you put like two little bits of kibble, they're gonna tear each other's throats out. And that's really what it feels like, because TF2's not found a place in esports. It hasn't really made a huge mark. Like, we get good ESCA viewers, but we don't have a good streaming scene. Like, I make jokes about this all the time. Like, The stream numbers for TF2 are consistently behind games like uh I don't even remember, like old Super Nintendo games that people are streaming, like Game Boy games
It's
outpace
true.
TF2. Like we get good ESEA viewers, but beyond that we don't really have a lot. And so when there's 6v6 people who want recognition for 6v6, and there's Highlander who honestly is a bigger scene than 6v6, has more players, might not be the most developed or like in-depth game, it clearly has the advantage, but 6v6 doesn't like that. So there's just initial like basic conflict built in there.
I want to read real quick just something someone wrote in our stream chat, which I think sums up everything that's kind of thought of on both sides real fast. And I'm not saying one way or the other whether this dude's right or wrong or whatever, but this is what he wrote. FB Sherb wrote, 6v6 equals full of elitists who think they're superior for a more strategic and skill-based game mode. Highlander equals full of people who mainly want fun and get mad at 6v6 people for not enjoying TF2 as much as they should.
People in Highlander rage just as much as 6v6 people. That's completely
Yeah.
off base. Like,
Yeah.
it's not an issue. 6v6 is kind of undisputably a deeper, more strategic game mode that makes Highlander people mad when you bring that up. But it's just how it is, because when you add more shit to the pot, which you are with Highlander, 3 more players per team, different classes, all the unlocks, like the different maps, everything it just takes away a lot of the depth. It just makes it more chaotic and strange. Like, and people get offended by that when they play Highlander, because the people who understand that in sixes say it in such a dumb way. Like they say it like it ruined, like it somehow makes Highlander like the scum of the earth. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, they essentially they call it an organized pub. It's like, oh, it's just like pubbing. You know, you have people like Tyler in that thread who said, I'm quoting from memory here, but he said, I was playing our match last night, and I wanted to go to the server browser to find a better pub, and then I realized it was a match. And it's just like, okay, that's a funny post, but it was also kind of douchey.
It was, and that's actually the feeling I got from reading the whole thing. Like, Platinum had a couple of responses which I think were pretty innocent. I don't think he meant anything bad by them. But if I'm like a random person who doesn't really know Plat, doesn't really know the invite, whatever, and I only play Highlander, and I'm in the Highlander section of Team Fortress TV, and I see every invite player, including Platinum, just basically say, well, if we wanted to we could just own it because we're way better, basically, which is summarizing what he said. It's like we proved that we are better when we tried, and we didn't have fun, so we didn't try, and blah, blah, blah. We got in this kind of fight back and forth. Like, I don't think the invite players are specifically shitting on Highlander like they hate it. I just think they're trying to defend their own game in a weird way and trying to just make it clear that they believe Sixes is better. But I just don't understand why there needs to be the discussion in the first place. If you like Highlander, play Highlander. If you like 6v6, play 6v6. Our job is to just kind of promote ourselves and our game mode and say this is what we like to do without attacking the other thing. If you don't like it, then don't do it. It's just there. It's not affecting 6v6 players at all, is it? I mean, I don't know, Duder, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I think one thing that is going really well right now for Highlander is they're marketing the hell out of it. You see UGC with like 10,000+ people in their Steam group, and they're working to get like newbie mixes and stuff for Highlander, and they're doing that for sixes too. But I think right now UGC specifically is making Highlander more accessible to the average player with the Iron Leagues and the Steel Leagues that allow a new player who may not be as skilled as somebody else to come in and find success somewhat quickly. Whereas within ESEA, if you jump into open, you may not win your first season or second season, or from my experience, any season, but that's okay. We won't go there. But the thing with Highlander right now is that it's being marketed to a different player, whereas ESEA is really appealing to more of a skilled player with experience in the league. UGC is doing a really good job of saying, hey, you play pubs? You have like 1,000 hours of the game, you'd probably do well in Highlander. And look, we've got 9 other classes. Like, we've got 9 classes you can play. You don't have to play Soldier, Scout, or Demo, or Medic. You can play Spy if you want to. You can full-time Sniper. So they're doing a good job of appealing to a broader base. But I think right now, from a competitive standpoint, as far as the quality of play, I think Sixes is still got the edge a little bit, but we're seeing more of those Sixes players start moving into Platinum and Silver and Steel, which is interesting. But you're seeing those players start trying to take advantage of what Highlander has to offer, and you maybe can have a little bit more fun. But I think right now sixes, especially ESEA, has the competitive advantage.
ESEA has the pay to play and the get paid if you win. Like
Yep.
that's going to attract the people who have the most competitive drive because they're like, we want to win the highest scene and we want to win the money, right? So I don't know where I was going with that, but as far as
you're right, because that's the thing is if if you pay money to play, it becomes suddenly a little bit more important versus UGC where any Joe Schmo can walk in off the street and run around with a pan for 40 minutes if they want to. Whereas in ESCA you're going to because you've got a vested interest in what you're doing, you're going to take it a little bit more seriously, maybe.
Now I do want to go back to that thread a little bit, Cbear. One thing I do notice about that thread, and a lot of threads on Team Fortress TV and NATF2 and anywhere, is that the loudest voices tend to also be the ones that are the least diplomatic.
Right.
So you get, like you said, you get, Platinum and Tyler and stuff making good points, but making them in bad ways, and so their communication, it's noticed a lot certainly, but it's also noticed very negatively. And then on the other side, it's not just 6v6 players saying crappy stuff. I'll call them out now. I've seen Infinite from UGC post a lot of really stupid stuff.
And he's admin. Oh,
Infinite is awful.
Yeah,
he's not awful because I've no hold up. So I've talked to the guy before, and when you want help from him, he's a really helpful guy. He's a friendly guy. What I told him in a private message, and he kind of ignored, I guess, because he didn't think it was important. But I told him in a private message, dude, every time you post on TFTV or any forum, you're representing UGC whether you know it or not. And if you want to represent UGC as a moron, then okay. But really, you need to watch what you say in public forums because you're a representative.
There are a lot of presumptions about both sides that are built up. That Invite and the 6v6 community is like full of elitist jerks, whereas maybe 10% of us are. You have vocal members of the community who are just trolls and people that aren't good ambassadors of our game. But generally speaking, you could watch Lang stream or Sean Bud stream, and those guys are really friendly, and they will show 6v6 in a good light. Infinite puts the way that he posted in that thread, he clearly states an us versus them type of thing. Like, it's our side versus your side. And the point that I'm trying to make even by having this discussion is that does not need to be the case. You don't need to support 6v6 by trashing Highlander and vice versa. They can both live. And I think a synergistic relationship between the two sides would be so much healthier for everyone involved. If we could just show Highlander people, hey, this is a fun game. You should try it. And if their first experiences of trying 6v6, they don't have all this awful feedback from 6v6 players, a few of them who make fun of them for playing Highlander for no reason. But, I mean, we've played Highlander. DJC plays it now. He scrims it. He's definitely more involved in it than I am. And you tell me, DJC, isn't it really fun to play Highlander? I mean, it's frustrating and different than sixes, but it's certainly enjoyable, and people shouldn't be thought of as less than a 6v6 player for enjoying Highlander, right?
I have more fun playing Highlander than I generally do 6v6, and that's due to a lot of reasons. Like, I like everyone on my team. Like, plus there's a lower requirement of effort to be put in. We scrim, but I don't have to be there 5-6 days a week, 3 hours a night. I don't have to put in effort above and me on the call, and it's not like I'm so good at the game that I just come in and I'm like, I'm the best heavy in UGC, get the fuck out of here. It's just I come in and I just play, and I'm with my team, and we have fun, and we don't really care if we win, blah blah blah. It's different than 6v6s in that regard. I think we still care about winning, but
I've been in your guys' Mumble and watched you guys play. You definitely care about winning. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's nothing wrong with being a competitive Highlander player. I think another one of the assumptions people make about Highlander is that they only play for fun. But
that's not true.
We've gotten rolled by teams that take it seriously, have a plan, are scrim and set up a way, and they destroy invite players because they have a plan and we did.
Yeah, spoiler alert. The Syndicate on Monday won 5-0 against Menace to Society in 20 minutes. So they roll people.
Spoiler alert, are you casting it or something? Or
No, I just want to let people know if they haven't seen it or seen the score and they don't want to know the score. I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue with that. I'm not casting. I usually don't cast rolls.
I will say, guys, that I'm very surprised and impressed with how well the platinum teams have kept together this season. When they announced that they were removing the restriction on players, we were talking about it. And I was like, I bet by the fifth game, these guys are more concerned about scrimming for ESEA playoffs and all that stuff than they are about Highlander. And props to all those teams for sticking together and putting some really good efforts up. It's been really impressive, and I'm so happy that all those teams stuck together. I really didn't expect them to.
I want to read. Well, just we can move on because I'm sure some people don't care. There's a post that was made in the thread by Pudding Cup, who I want to say is the pyro for bonus. DJC,
Yeah,
is that
and
right?
who's probably one of the smartest players, right?
Yeah,
I'm
he's a
gonna
really
reveal
good
a
player.
secret to you. I don't know a single Highlander team or Highlander. Like, I don't know any of the players. I'm just stupid.
All right. Well, just
I think
completely
he
unrelated.
plays
Whenever
for
I have a TF2 question, I ask DJC. So if he doesn't know, then I'm really afraid. But anyway, Pudding Cup is I don't know him, but he seems like a good guy. Definitely a Highlander first player. But he posted in here, I think, is a perfect summarization of what I'm talking about in reaction to this thread. If you click on this thread and you only play Highlander, you don't know a lot about 6v6, I think this is the attitude that you'd come away from, especially considering every invite 6v6 player that posts on TFTV has blue. Their names are blued. And basically every blue post in here kind of, at least a little bit, shits on Highlander, saying it's not as good of a game as 6v6 or whatever, which if you like Highlander a lot would be like me getting insulted. Anyway, this is his post, so I'm reading Pudding Cup's words here, okay? It does bother me a little when some invite players make comments about Highlander that make the format seem like a complete joke. I could be wrong about this, but it seems like that kind of view sets an example for a lot of other people in the Sixes community. Me and some of the people from Bonus made an ESCA open team this season, and I was surprised by how many people tried to troll us or talk shit about us just because we were Highlander players. I guess shit talk will happen regardless, but I can see why some people who enjoy playing Highlander would feel ostracized. That's just been my experience in open, though. Right, so just a short little post here, really smart. I think it sums it up. I think what we can take away from this, and I would love to hear your guys' reaction, is if you're a 6v6 player and you see maybe some of the top players, shitting on Highlander, it doesn't mean that you have to as well. It doesn't affect you. You shouldn't even come into play. I think that if you should try it, if you don't like it, don't play it, and then move on. But this negative attitude towards a big portion of people, there are more people that play Highlander than 6v6 by a lot. And there's only thing that can help 6v6 grow is to help kind of show that 6v6 is fun by just being a nice, accepting person. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but that's sort of what I think the best way to go about it is. Definitely not, walling people off for enjoying a different way. So I would say stop being jerks and just be nice to people, for Christ's sake. I don't know. What do you guys think?
And there's so many nice people in the Sixes scene too. We're like probably overreacting a little bit here because you go to the newbie mixes, and I've never had an experience with somebody who was rude in the newbie mix, except maybe me once because I was like really tired and the match was going poorly. But even then, I hope I wasn't an awful person. So you definitely don't get any sort of like shitting on Highlander in the newbie mixes for 6v6. So that's one of those environments where it's supposed to be friendly and encouraging. I think they've done a good job cultivating that. I do want to read two things from the stream chat. First, somebody says, Cbear Sal, make a sex tape, please. So
hey, man.
We're on the hook now. We're on the hook.
No.
Second, someone earlier was asking, why doesn't ESEA have a 9v9 league? And
Didn't they talk about that like a season or two ago about implementing Highlander?
Well, it seems like there's so many players in this scene right now that if you got, let's say UGC, right? They've got like 400 teams. If you got a quarter of them to pay a fee for a league, a quarter, you got like the top 100 teams to pay to be in platinum or silver or whatever. And that's 9 players at least per team paying $1, right, for an entry fee. You've got something like $900 just by that alone.
My question would be, what do you think, guys? Do you think ESCA, other than the like Kalkin and Killing, who are the players that are TF2 admins, do you think they even know what Highlander is? Like, seriously, any of them?
ESCA?
Like, I would love to ask them and be like, what the hell are you talking about?
I'm sure they know what it is.
They don't
You gotta
care.
remember,
right?
like, as you bring those more teams in, though, like the number of staff and infrastructure required is going to grow as well. So just because you're taking a little bit more money in, or it's less teams to get that much money, there's still a lot more that they're going to have to do in order to run it. And maybe that's why they decided it wasn't for them, that it's too much work for what they're going to bring in. I don't know.
Right,
I think it'd
and
be cool if they did it, but
one of the points that Platt brings up in the thread, I'll just summarize. I don't need to read his words, but it's be much harder to do 9v9 at LAN, which I think is still considered to be the ultimate point of an esport, is to show in person that
Especially
you're
for this game, like
Yeah.
we can't even get we need community donations to get our 4 teams to land this season. That's 24 players. If we need to get 36, that's another what, like a couple hundred per plane ticket? That's where are we gonna get that money from? Like we're already tapping the community pretty dry every time LAN rolls around. Highlighter lands would just be completely it'd be in an entirely different galaxy from where
It
we are right now.
it might. Oh, that's Jabber. Okay. It might be that way, but at the same time, I'm thinking if you promoted it right, and it may not be ESEA because they don't care about viewership and they don't really care that much about sponsors. You may have to promote somebody else, have a different league do it. But if you promote it right and you can guarantee these sponsors, look, this is a rising scene. We're going to have a lot of viewership for this LAN. This is going to be like the big deal of TF2. Get like 10,000 live concurrent viewers or more, and guarantee that. Then suddenly you could have sponsors saying, okay, yeah, we'll send a team there. So you may not have to tap the community at all.
Yeah, but we'd have to get to that point, and we're a ways away.
Well, so let's say that next season then they don't do a LAN, but they do some kind of a if you're in platinum you pay a $5 fee to be in platinum, and so they've got like the top 16 or 24 teams or whatever it is in platinum. They all pay like $5 per person. They get this decent little prize pot. It's not a lot, but they split between first, second, and third place, and they just have the online tournament as usual. And that that alone, fighting for money, makes it a much bigger deal. We'll get more viewers, and we'll definitely pimp it out more on XTV, right?
Sal, I think what you just brought up though is sort of the problem with with charging for Platinum UGC is that it's an online tournament. Okay,
Right.
So when you're trading money now, how mad would you be if you were playing in the finals for a couple $100 and suddenly your neighbors started downloading some creepy goat porn and you couldn't play? Might be okay, but then it's not a fair competition anymore, so you really can't put money on the line. And I talked to Infinite about this 3 seasons ago, before that atrocious summer season, and we said like, why don't you just charge $20 per team or something, some fiat number, and it's basically the same thing in that you can't then give a prize away based on an online tournament because it's not a fair playing field. And that's the advantage of having LAN, is that it's completely fair and even. Every team is on a level playing field. There's definitely no hacks theoretically. The hardware is pretty similar. Everything is pretty much even. It's up to the skill. And trying to give money away via an online tournament, especially if you're talking about a lot of money, it just wouldn't be fair. And that was basically UGC's argument as to why they're not going to ever charge for Platinum.
I can see that, but I think there are tons of these little StarCraft online tournaments that happen all the time, and they never go to a LAN or anything, and they still give away a lot of money.
Yeah, but I mean, StarCraft isn't as dependent on what's going. Like, you can't hack that easily in StarCraft. Like,
you actually can.
Well, like a sniper, I mean, that's going to dominate the other team if he's hacking. And
map hackers in StarCraft can dominate pretty easily.
Yeah.
And they can try to make it look like they're not map hacking too, but they can just I happen to have an observer over there.
Yeah.
So it's just as much of a big deal, I think, in StarCraft as it would be in TF2. I don't see why we don't try it.
I'd love to do it, and that's why I brought it up with Inf. It's just that was the argument, was that we can't. He said it wouldn't be fair, basically, and I mean, I guess I kind of understand that, but I don't know.
DJC, what do you think, man? Online Highlander pay-to-play tournament?
I don't think people would pay. I think that some people would, and I think that a lot of other people would just be like, well, fuck this, I'm going to go play in a league where I don't have to pay. Mm-hmm. That's like what it is with the ESEA. I mean, back when ESEA first came in, CEVO was popping 350 teams in free and CEVO professional or whatever it was called. ESEA got like 40 the first season. I was sitting there on my bad like open team, and it's like, okay, we need you to play a match, and I'm like, okay, who against? Pandemic, Carnage, Nick Jaeger, whatever.
Yep. That was the best, man. I played that first
awesome.
Season of ESEA.
I was on a team with Platinum for like a week, dude. He told me I was bad at demo.
Aw.
Fuck you, Plat.
Little has changed. No, yeah, I
Really
remember
has.
we that was my team's first experience in ESCA as well. They're really, I mean, they gave out free premiums back then. They still kind of have to do that at certain levels to try to fill out teams. I think the last couple seasons they've stopped doing that, but the first 2 or 3 seasons of ESCA, it was all we basically are trying to do whatever we can to get teams to play. Like, please, I know it's money, but please play, please
There was a
play.
point where the admin, I forget whether it was AFK or Killing or whoever, was literally like, dude, if you need money to pay your premium, I will pay it for you with my
Yep.
admin earnings. Like that's how desperate it was getting.
Oh, I'm not saying, and some of the, I think maybe the stream chat and everybody's misunderstanding too. So you definitely shouldn't do pay to play for lower levels of Highlander, because yeah, they'll scare a lot of people away. Um, but you know what? Maybe I'll just try running one of my own. I'll just be like, I'm gonna take a week off and set up a Highlander tournament online, and be like, this will be the Sal TV 9v9 Invitational, and see
Maybe
if people want
somebody
to.
could work with you on that, Sal. Oops. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
TV,
We can.
Sal TV combo tournament
Mhm.
for all the marbles. My only question would be, Sal, who's going to play in this tournament? Like, you have how many teams would be interested in something like this? Do you think that? How many teams do you think have one match of UGC a week, and that's cool for them? And we'll talk about this, I guess, in a little bit when we switch to ESCA, because I wanted to bring up sort of the
Yeah.
thought of how much of a monopoly ESCA has over 6v6 TF2 at this
Yeah,
point,
we could do
and
that.
how it probably isn't good because they don't really care, and they just want to make money, which is fine because they make money. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think it would be a popular? I mean, I would play in the Sal thing, but I know Gorgeous Gamers won't because they won't. They don't want to.
You'd have to do it you'd have to do it at the right time. It'd have to be off season.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think you could do it during the actual Highlander season. You'd have to time it with ESCA off season. So I'm assuming, Bear, you'd want good players in this thing. You'd want to put a good show on, right? I mean, you'd want the top teams. So you
Even
couldn't
if
do
it
it during
were,
LAN.
Yeah, even if it were in the off season, I mean, people get burnt out playing TF2 so long. That's why there has to be off seasons. There has to be breaks. Like European leagues tried doing summer seasons, which was traditionally the off season. It was, I think, season 10 of ETF12. It was a train wreck. Like
It was like the
there
worst
were
season.
there were like three
anything
teams
else.
left in Prem. Like it was awful. It was just brutal. Nobody practiced. Nobody cared. Like teams won, and at the end of the season, they're like, okay, well, normally we do promotions and demotions based on how the season's results went. Since nobody gave a single fuck for the past 2 months that we ran this league, we're not going to do that because it just wouldn't make any sense. Like the off-season stuff just doesn't really work. Like ESEA did off-season stuff. I don't know if anybody really remembers. They did like 2, 3 off-season tournaments where you had to sign up. Like I think we had 4 teams sign up total over 2 of them. It was just really bad turnout because at a certain point you've been playing TF2 for so long in a row that you're just like, dude, I like this game and I would like to like it in 3 weeks. I wouldn't like to hate it in those 3 weeks. So I'm gonna take a break. My own pyro, Huey Lewis, was like he needed a week off because he was just tired of TF2. He took a week off. He came back. He's like, all right, let's do this again. Sometimes you just need time off. So the off season doesn't really work because you're not going to get as many people as you would need to make it like appealing and interesting and competitive.
You get
Yeah.
burned out. And I think you get burned out quicker playing this game than anything else. Anything I've ever played, I've had to switch this game up more than anything else that's out there. You know, that's how
I
it
don't
is.
know if I necessarily agree because we have pug groups that are active all the time. People play this game basically every day. A lot of them do. Every night you'll see them in the game, 4 or 5 nights a week, whether or not they're practicing or not. The question is, what would it take to appeal to a mass of people and teams that could commit time and energy and actually care about doing a tournament like this? So if, let's say, we do the Sal Invitational. And I
Well,
would-
you'd have to partner, do XTV and UGC partnership, right?
Right.
And just make this separate invitational or even just an open sign-up tournament, and have UGC be the ones to promote it because they're the ones who have the distribution channel to all those people.
Right. But then the question would be, what would we have to do to motivate teams to want to play, especially if we're asking them to pay some sort of a fee, even if it's only $4 or $5 per person. people aren't going to want to do that when they have other options to play TF2. We've seen that throughout forever. Even like the old Cvo tournaments that they used to run, teams you'd have to literally like pull their hair to play, like twist their arm behind their back.
Yeah.
Like, please play in this free tournament, and they're like, well, we don't want to because we already have one match a week or whatever. So I guess we'd have to. What do you guys think would be motivation enough to make something like that successful? Because I think the game would be great if we could run stuff like this in both 6v6 and Highlander. I think it'd be great.
The one time this actually worked was when ESEA first came out, because people were like, dude, we play one match a week for Cvo. How the hell are we going to play 2 more for ESEA? And people are like, well, there's a LAN, and you win money, and you don't get either of those things with Cvo. With Cvo, you get literally nothing. So those are pretty nice motivators. But even that we had 350 teams, let's say, and that brought 40 over to the cause. Like, you need a bigger motivator than lands and money. What the hell do we have that motivates better than that in an esport?
It's swag. I mean, it goes back to what Sal said. We've got to get the sponsors in before we can really attract those teams, especially for smaller tournaments. If we said, hey, top team all wins like Core i5 processors or something, that'd make a lot of people want to play in that tournament. That's for sure.
I'd play, but I think what it boils down to is most people play this as a hobby. I don't think people are thinking make money, or even get stuff. I would say the biggest detractor to these tournaments is, say, a mid-level Highlander team says, okay, do you guys want to play? We all pay $5, we play in this tournament. And they say, well, who's in it? And they say, oh, the Syndicate, Bonus, and MTS, and all, the teams that are way better than us. Oh. Well, what the hell are we going to do? We'll go play 1 or 2 matches and then get owned. We used to see more of that, or like we had the CGS way back in the day, but it had 200, 300 teams that had a huge prize pool. But really, it was like, you can't lose money, but you can make money and you can have fun. You might get a chance to play a top team. So I don't know, if we could guarantee solid competition for these teams that play. And in TF2 is just such a ladder of skill ranges that I don't know how that would work. And I think that's a big detractor. People would say, well, I don't want to pay $5, so I'm just going to get owned by Ruin, and I can't fault that.
Well, there's a different route to take then, and maybe it's not pay to play. So what they're doing in ETF2L is they've got a mysterious benefactor who's basically just throwing down something like €1,000, or maybe it's not quite that much, but it's just, he's like, okay, well, this season of ETF2L, going to have a prize pot, and nobody has to pay anything, and they get to play for money. So it doesn't change a lot of who signs up, and maybe it doesn't change a lot of who wins, but it's a prize pot.
Yeah, it's something. It's more of a motivator than most things have. I mean, when Cvo was around, the motivator was that you would play because Cvo did ELO or something and had some dumb formula that calculated where it's like, you're as good as this team, you're going to play each other, have fun. Yeah. And it was good competitive games. ESEA doesn't really have that. We just kind of, it's like, here, you're the worst open team. Right now, you're going to get matched up with the best one because it's week 3 and we haven't figured everything out yet. Have fun. And it's like, oh, God, my life is awful.
How do they determine matches coming up? Is there an algorithm for this at all?
I believe ESEA does have it for open. In intermediate and invite, they have the schedules made before the season starts. I believe maybe intermediate also has the like you win the first 4, you play, another team has it before. Same way UGC does it. I just think ESEA's is a little bit not as good. I guess I mean because it happens. What CBC says happens a lot. Or the first couple of weeks they have to establish what teams are good, so it's kind of like they get owned.
UGC apparently does it by hand. I know there's some like thread on the forum where it's like, what's the college basketball rating thing called? I don't even remember.
Like RPI?
Yeah, there's like some TF2 RPI thing on UGC, I think.
That's funny.
Yeah, UGC uses like this big complicated spreadsheet thing. It's like a Google Doc. Infinite showed it to me like 2 seasons ago, and
it's got
all these. There's like math and equations, and he's got an abacus, and he's like throwing things around, and throwing darts at the wall and stuff. And he's like, "Well, Team A is going to play Team F, and I'm Infinite." No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, it is like some weird, crazy equation involved in how they get teams matched up, chemistry or something. I don't know.
I don't know either.
How do we tie this all together? Because we've kind of branched out pretty far in this discussion. I think it's the healthy discussion talking about sort of ways to improve the game. But I think one thing that I want to talk about, and we're kind of running out of time here. We got to give out hats and stuff.
We do soon.
But just sort of the monopoly that ESEA has over us 6v6 players, and talk about maybe how we could go about breaking that monopoly, whether or not it would be healthy, etc. DJC, I know you're like I said, the guy I always go to when I need to know something. Do you think ESEA right now is good for TF2, or do you think that it's kind of hurting us? What do you think?
ESEA is good for TF2, but we're really, really bad for ESEA. And I don't know if people will agree with me on this. They rarely agree with me on anything. But here's the problem. People whine about ESEA because ESEA doesn't care about TF2, and that's true. But what have we ever done to make ESEA care about us? Because here's the thing. ESEA doesn't care if there's a lot of viewers at LAN. Like, it's nice, but it's not fantastic. But go look at any ESEA news article. Go look at the ESEA TF2 forums. Go look at anything that ESEA actually uses to measure its activity and the intro in it, and we don't do that. We post on Team Fortress TV, we post on NATF2. We posted on a dead esports site for like 4 years, praying that Godfrag would be there forever. Like, and ESEA came along, and people were like, people at the beginning, like, were always like, dude, you gotta post on ESEA or they're never gonna care about us. And people were like, nah, fuck it, we're not gonna do it. And here we are, like 4 years later, it's like, hey, ESEA doesn't care about us. And like, fuck them, we'll make Team Fortress TV League. That'll be perfect. It'll be all of our dreams come true. It'll be rainbows, shit, and unicorns out of their ass. I had that backwards, sorry.
Yeah, that
rainbows with
rainbow. Hey, look at rainbow.
Don't ever actually look at the product.
I don't see ESEA as being too bad of a thing for TF2. I do wish it could be better, but I guess where I would hope we go with this is what can everybody here do to help make TF2 more successful as an esport, right? That's what I want to be thinking about.
Oh,
Keep playing.
Yeah,
It's a tough one.
We had what has now become the infamous DJC drunk night on Lang's stream, in where he went on for hours, and I kind of joined in, and other people joined in after I left, and continued talking about just the state of our game. And DJC got a lot of flack for the things that he said, being, in his opinion, brutally honest. And there are a lot of people that believe that this game is still growing. And I think it depends on how you measure it. I'm not an esports connoisseur. I watch a lot, but I don't know what makes a successful esport. But I like that we have so many streamers now, and that the viewers generally seem to be slowly rising. We have great numbers as far as our big events go. I-46 was huge, and the ESEA lands we're thinking, good 3, 4, 5, 6,000, somewhere in that area, and that's a lot of people watching. But how do we consistently deliver a good product to people to watch that they want to get involved and play? I don't know. I'm not sure. DJC, how would you say for people, people watching the stream, how can they help grow TF2 as an esport?
Keep watching all of the streams, get the viewer numbers up, because those do matter. Like, our top streamer at any given time, our top individual streamer is probably Lang or Seanbud or Plaid or Pure with like 100, 150. Look at any other of the top esports. There's like some League of Legends dude has 38,000 viewers sitting there. Some StarCraft 2 guys at like 25,000. Like,
League of Legends popping.
Yeah.
Sinwin with 22,000 people watching him farm the jungle and make.
Sinwin right now in chat is doling out some stats. Like, we have really high viewer retention rate in TF2, and our numbers have grown a lot.
Yes.
But our raw numbers are just ugly compared to other games. Like, so maintain watching the streams. We're doing really well there, but like, we do nothing to actually show this game to the people who matter, which is the sponsors and the people in the esports community that aren't TF2 isolated. Like, ESEA is pretty good exposure for TF2 as an esport, but like I said a few minutes ago, we do nothing on ESEA. There's no TF2 presence on ESEA. I write articles there, and people are like, dude, but so many people read your article. I get like 3 comments an article, if that, and like...
it's the people that you talked about, like, hey, I'm not gay, how dare you?
Yeah, like, it's like...
I think one thing, though, that's going to help us a lot is the new OBS program that's going to make it easier for, like, the average person to get out there and start streaming. I mean, one of the things that was holding us back is TF2 is pretty resource-heavy as far as, you need decent hardware to stream it, and having a piece of software that, maybe makes it a little easier for the average guy to just fire it up and stream to Twitch or owned or whatever is going to make it a lot easier. You should probably stream on Twitch, by the way. We're on Twitch, right? Twitch TV. But that program, I think by itself is going to make streaming TF2 more accessible to the average player. And if we can boost the number of people getting the message out there and showing them playing whatever, even if it's just a pub or MVM, one of the things that you notice about other games is someone is always streaming it, always. It's not the case with TF2. There's times where there will be like 1 or 2 people that are live and no one's watching it because it's nobody. But if we get 5, 10, 15, 20 people always streaming, no matter what the time is, you pop on the Twitch game page and boom, you've got 15 different choices, for any other game. Why don't we have that with TF2? Now we've got the tool that the players need in order to do that. So I really hope that helps. I really do.
Pretty much what
We do
you're
actually-
saying is Lang needs to drop out of college and just stream 24/7, make money out of that, Lang.
Yeah. If there's one guy I would love to see make money off streaming TF2, it's Lang.
Yeah, and you know what? He gets some of the biggest numbers when he's
Yeah.
just pubbing and asking, because he's a really nice guy that people connect with when they watch, and he's really, really watchable. He's got charisma. We need more people like Lang to stream and have people that follow him and watch him consistently. I mean, there's no one better I would push towards watching stream for the first time than Lang, because he's a really good player and he's got a great personality as far as interacting with his viewers and everybody else. I mean, I'm not going to bash the other big streams because they're all good in their own ways. I mean,
Yeah.
Platinum is an amazing player. Every time I watch Platinum stream, I'm just like, holy crap, this guy's unbelievable at basically every class. But I would question. I don't want to get like I don't want to.
I think Cbear, I think Lang is missing out on a big niche though. What he needs to do is he starts needing to take tech support calls while he's streaming and help people fix their computers and stuff while he's playing TF2. Because then he could actually bring some income in and still stream the game.
He sat there for 3 hours a couple weeks ago when I was trying to build my fail computer, which I'm actually going to try to build again tonight because I have the parts again that the RMAs arrived. Yay. And he sat there for 3 hours, and I don't know if he would stream it if people would watch me fail and stumble around my open case, cry when it didn't work, like the actual tears. But yeah, I mean, I think streaming would help too, but generally, I always say this, even going back to the first ever cast we used to do in the MGE Mumble, you could only watch. We didn't even have a stream. We only had the MGE Mumble. And I would say, tell your friends to come watch this, to download Mumble, give them the info, tell them the game is going on, and they'll have a good time. Sal, you and I casted that process match, Mix-Up versus LG, and it was, like I said, and I commented on the forums and stuff, that I think not just the cast, which was whatever, but the game itself and the way we presented it, the stream, our casting, everything put together, made that show as entertaining of an esports product as there is anywhere. And I would say, sit down and watch that if you like esports. And if you don't like it, then, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, because
Then you're just not an esports fan. Get out.
Right.
And
I mean, one thing that Sally, we were going to talk about was personalities in the stream, and I was like, well, why am I not here? But that's I think something that each streamer needs to do is maybe not focus on it, but develop your own personality when you're streaming. Get out there and attract people with something unique. I'm an idiot, and I'm usually half drunk during a cast, so that's like my thing. That's what I do. Sal, you're really friendly, and everybody likes you, and your beard is luscious and full of amazing little creatures. I'm sure, or somehow keeping you alive. When you're 70, you're gonna look just like you do today because of your beard creatures. And Cbear and DJC, you guys are the best combination of streamers, and you work well together. So when you guys get streaming, people want to listen because you've played at a high level, you know a lot about the game,
and you're hilarious.
Yeah, you sound good together. So I mean, that's one thing that as you start streaming, you don't necessarily need to work on it, but it helps if there's something for people to keep coming back to. And maybe that's something don't maybe just stream the game. Turn your mic on. A lot of people stream with their mic off. Turn it on. People love to hear people getting mad playing video games. If I streamed me playing in matches, I'd probably have to rate it M, first of all, but people would listen just to hear me flipping out every 10, 15 minutes. So, I mean, develop that personality and make sure that you've got something besides just streaming the game. And everybody's got something. You just got to find it.
Yeah, I would say also, I didn't say Tyrone. If you guys are watching the video on demand, we're probably never going to be able to get Tyrone on the show because he works in the West Coast and he's getting off work right now and coming home, so it would be hard. I would love to have him on fully charged if we could.
Yeah.
But his stream is probably the most overall entertaining stream. If I follow him, so I get an email when I will watch him pretty much over TV. I think he's great. Tell your friends, hey, this guy's really cool, really funny. His team is funny. Watch this stream. They're probably the second best team in TF2 right now. Watch it. And I think, like I said, great if we get more streamers. But I think also spreading the word to your other friends. If they like esports, they should enjoy TF2. I mean, FPS games in general have declined quite a bit since the heyday of CS, but TF2 presents a really interesting gameplay. I think not just for us casters, but for the invite game and good quality games in general, we need to figure out a way to duplicate that product that we had on Process Match, because people loved it. Everyone was so pumped after that. Got 10,000 viewers on the YouTube, and I'm sure 95% of people that watched it really liked it and probably wanted to do some TF2 after that. I know I did. When I casted it, I was like, I'm going to play TF2 again. That lasted like a week. Yeah. Right? So I don't know. We got to figure out a good way, the teams and everyone involved, to put on this good product. Close games in TF2 are great to watch. Blowouts are awful. Like, no one wants to watch those at all. And
I'm gonna stress Cbear's point here about spreading the word. Like, XTV casts, I'm pretty sure boomed in numbers once they got Gunners or Lame Effects or whatever the hell his alias is to start making like consistent Reddit posts alerting people, because nobody was there doing that before. Like, Vanilla realized I guess it was like 2 months ago, they picked up Ritalin to do that same job. Like, that stuff really helps. Like, TF2 is not a game where it's like, oh, I'm gonna go post on the big esports site that Mixup are playing LG tonight. You have to get it. It's word of mouth. We're a grassroots effort here more than anything, as far as you can be a grassroots efforts on the internet, in communities on the internet.
Here's a way we could like triple our viewer numbers though right now, and that is exactly as the stream chat saying, let's get Bobby Basketball 1999 on the stream.
Can you explain what that is? I know I get a lot of flack from people for not knowing anything, but what is this? I've seen it so many times.
DJC, do you know the original story?
I don't have a clue, dude.
Okay, it was on someone's stream, so it could have been Lang or somebody, but it was maybe Sean Bud. But it was just some
Slin would do.
It was some random guy on a pub who every time the streamer looked at it was Kurt. Okay, so it was Truck. I was on his stream, and every time Truck looked at him, I guess he was making these ridiculous, double or triple air shots on the stream, and he's just like, this is some random pubber named Bobby Basketball 1999. So that's it. That's where it came from. I want to get that guy on here just for the novelty value. But yeah, this is a call for you, Bobby.
I wish Bobby Basketball was watching this. He could.
On the 1% chance he's in here, you're gonna have him.
Right. There's actually, I guess, the stream highlight YouTube, which we can link in the VOD. I guess it's on there too, so you know what we're talking about. And I'm gonna watch that after we're done, because I would like to be more informed. But everybody in stream chat seems to really like this guy. So Bobby Basketball, if you watch this live or on the VOD, add us on Steam, I guess. Tell us it's you, so we know.
It's the hunt is on, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just gonna message Sal on YouTube now, like, I'm Bobby Basketball 1999. Can I be on the podcast?
You assume that he has Tony Swan's voice, like, hello, I'm Bobby Basketball.
If you ever want to see Cbear again.
I hurt myself doing it. It's been a while since I've tried to do the Tony Swan voice. It escaped me, although DJC did a pretty good job there. So.
Okay. I think we're just about running out of things to talk about now. There's a lot more we could go into with these subjects, I'm sure, but at the same time, we need to give out some hats. People have been waiting patiently for us to shut the hell up and give them their hats. So I think we should do that. We're going to cut off the YouTube VOD right about here and say, as I'm not quite yet, Cbear, he's trying to tell me with his hand here. He's like, no, we've got to say stuff. But I want to, before we cut it off, of course, hit that subscribe button. YouTube.com/FatMop is where the VODs go. And follow on Twitch.tv/FatMop right here if you want to see it live. If you are in the European time zones, too bad. We don't stream at your time. Deal with it.
Unless you're Cadis, because you're up right now.
Yeah.
Watching.
Cadis is a cool guy.
He is.
Next week, we're pretty sure we're going to have the heavy episode. We're also pretty sure it's not going to be on Wednesday. Wednesday is Halloween. I can't do it Wednesday. So are we thinking Tuesday? Is that right, Cbear?
Tuesday or Thursday, we'll decide. So we're gonna deviate. One of the things we wanted to stress was doing same time, same day. But huge holidays. I'm not probably gonna be doing anything during this time.
I am though. That's the thing is that I've got to go play with puppies and make a video out of that. So it's gonna be super cute.
But yeah, so we'll post in the regular places. I'm sure we can. If you're watching the YouTube VOD, then it doesn't concern you because you'll just wait an extra day or get it a day early for your weekly fully charged. But it'll be on the websites, and find a way. Thinking about doing a Steam group for Fully Charged too, so we can kind of release what's going on too. So,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, Sal, before we cut it, I want to thank our guests for coming on the stream, Duder and my buddy DJC. Much love, of course. Next week's Heavy should be fun. And if you guys want to win hats, you got to be here live, like Sal said. Also, update on my streaming. I've been teasing this for like a month because I'm awful at building computers. I think I can fix everything, and it's sitting over here ready to go. As soon as Smacka comes on to help me fix it, we're going to do it. And so maybe soon I will be streaming stuff, my own show, other stuff. Bobby Basketball 1999 just added me to friends list.
Yeah, it's got to be a joke, dude. It's got to be a joke. No way, no way. If this is Bobby Basketball, we're gonna have him on when we give out hats. That's what's gonna happen. But thank you again for watching. Duder, is there anything you need to shout out here before we go, and we'll give DJC a chance to?
Yeah, ESC LAN coming up. Was the 15th of November. I'm unfortunately not gonna be around to be a part of it, but I know we're gonna have the top men on it. Salamancer, top men. So tune into that over on XTV Esports. Of course, follow Sal on Fat Mop. I'm sure. I think. Are you going to try and get down to Dallas for the LAN this year?
I have class that weekend, so it's going to have to be Saturday night. So I'm going to miss out on all the Saturday festivities. Sunday, hopefully, I get to go hang out.
All right, man. Well, yeah, definitely check that out. And I think we've got like casts going on and stuff.
We do. We have a cast going on tonight. In fact, it's going to be me and Fog in 2 hours. So
I'm not invited to cast anymore, so I think you don't want me.
Well, Fog suggested it. He was just like, "Hey, I want you to cast with me." I'm sorry, Cbear.
That's okay. I would have said no.
Three's a crowd.
DJC, do you want to Cbear? You wouldn't have said no.
I would have said yes. I get to cast with Sal. Yes. DJC, any shout outs for you before we cut to hat time?
Shout out to Cbear because he's my best internet buddy from America. Shout out to Cadis because he's the European equivalent to Cbear.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Shout out to Tangerines, my Highlander team. Shout out to the grassroots movement that's going to be encouraging DJC to be on for the heavy episode. Because I do main heavy now. I'm a pro heavy, I must say, Salamancer. I can come on next week, discuss the intricacies of shotgun versus sandwich.
Yeah.
I had one more shout out. I don't remember it. Oh, yeah. Shout out to the Sea Dog raspberry beer that I've had 7 of tonight.
I was going to ask if it was alcohol, and it totally was alcohol.
Strawberry beer, though.
Oh, my God. You're reminding me of Dwarf Fortress now with strawberry wine. It's a bad thing. I shouldn't be thinking about Dwarf Fortress. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching Fully Charged, and listening to, if you're not watching. I do try to get these up occasionally as an audio version. So we're going to be signing out here, and then we'll come right back after the break to give away some hats. But that, of course, is not going on YouTube. So adios, ladies and gentlemen.